Hi guys, how's it? So darkness is abounding. That's pretty evident. It's kind of clear. It's dark to everyone. What's up in the name of Christ? It's a little bit later on in the day. It's like almost 6 p.m. and I'm deciding to do my video only now because I was not gonna do anything, given that I'm still busy with my edits from the last time and I don't want to be backlogged. But I'm on my last video, my third part, so I just figured let me just chat while passing time before everything cools down to a point where I can exercise, because I cannot work out during the day. I will fall on the ground flat, splat from heat. It's already summer. But you know, I'd like to have this to talk about. I'm under a lot of demonic attack. Apparently, allegedly, I'm attackable. So, given that I am allegedly attackable, we're gonna talk about that. My makeup is courtesy of Beauty Plus, not Beauty Plus, but CapCut. Just wanted to put that out there. This is not my own face beat. So if you see eyebrows bouncing, do you? I'm slow around dragging my body through the mud right now because I'm under a lot of demonic attack, right? That always happens, but you know, I have a strategy to conquer and to overcome, so hallelujah, amen. And I'm about to get into it right now with the squats and whatnot. But before we get there, let's have a chat, guys. Like, okay, so fine, it's 2023, whatever. But I'm curious, like, tell me this. Those of you who were born straight, like you were in high school once upon a time, kissing boys as a girl, did you ever get to a point where you were so mad at men, at boys, at a guy that hurt you, that you just, like, you know, suddenly gyrated on the floor on the spot and turned lesbian? That ever happen? Yo, I'm just curious, because the Kinema darkness is on another level. It's like off the hinges, like proper. It is off the chains and the railings. It is ridiculous what I keep seeing in my dreams and in my visions, and the recommendations, the suggestions, the witchcraft from like complete strangers. Maybe they're, you know what, people who do witchcraft, a lot of them have been doing it for a very long time. And so they keep trying stuff because it works. Perhaps maybe the reason why I keep getting these dreams, but I ignore them, is because they thoroughly believe it is a possibility. Like thoroughly. They're imaginative of it being a whole thing. So I think it's just time I talked about this, even though it's as irrelevant like next week's pimple on my face. Like, I promise you, it is such a non-issue to me. It is so little, so minuscule, infinitesimal and ignorable that, albeit having been shown quite a lot of suggestion in this regard, I just don't talk about it that much. Like, I've been afflicted quite a lot by guys, right? Like, dirt bags of note. Just these monumental buffoons that have absolutely no purpose in life other than to juice it and gain as much pleasure out of it as they possibly can. So I am doing edits at the same time, not edits but uploads onto Facebook, because frankly I am not trying to just stare at this like paint drying, doing it like all like, you know, without having something else going on for me. That's why I'm having this conversation. Just go inside your house, woman, like you're loud. Yes, I get, guys, I can't stand my family. I don't like them. I don't like my family. That never used to be a thing. But you know, when people abuse you for years, persecute you, treat you like trash, you stop kind of thinking favorably concerning them. So every time I hear my mom's car pulling in and every time I hear her voice, I cringe. Like, I do. People have sown discord between me and my family have congratulated themselves too by sowing that same discord, so we can't blame the world. We do not have an external locus of control out here, but we are rather acknowledging of the fact that they did it to themselves alongside it being done to them. So she's just gonna roam around outside, annoy the living daylights out of me, speaking loudly on a phone, the phone of which I cannot stand. I hate it, because all these years, all that she's done is just like casually, in a very cavalier constitution, talk to the whole world on the phone while her own daughter dies. So I can't stand it. She's like, you know who she reminds me of? There's this woman called Sophia in Kill Bill, right? She's Lucy Liu's best friend, and she's always on the phone. Like, even when like people are being chopped off, like their heads are being cut off and toes are being severed, she's like always on the phone. She's always on the phone. Like, she's just got this thing about always being on the phone. And how she even gets, like, you know, put in a bit of a compromised position is because her phone rings and Uma Thurman sees her in a bathroom just doing what she typically does. She's always always on the phone. And so that's how she even ends up losing like her arm or something. It gets chopped off, and she goes to Bill on some, oh, she chopped off my arm and said that everything about me is stupid, and she cries. Yeah, that woman who has got like a lethal assassin for a best friend is just always on the phone when this lethal assassin of a best friend of hers is killing like some people. My mom reminds me of Sophie from Kill Bill. Like, I am out here encircled, like literally I am encircled around me by lethal assassins, some pretty satanic men and women that would do anything to have my head on a platter like John the Baptist. They would kill to find out I have died. They would probably, if anything, they've tried to do such a thing as that, kill. Keep getting sent death curses, like I've got assassins, prolific ones at that, all up in my grill a good 24 hours a day. And my mom just walks around just on the phone. And it rings, and then she's always on the phone, and every so often the person that she's talking to is on speaker. And so the two-way conversation, I'm privy to it, so severely demonically attacked that I can't deal. I can feel the suicide curses, I can feel the compromise curses, I can feel the convert her to a lesbian curses, I can feel whatever is a demonic strategy that occult people are desperate to employ in my life, and then she's just like on the... I was about to talk right now about some satanic dreams I've been getting of a lesbian nature, and then she just like drives in and typically getting out of her car just yeah. So now I can't stand, like literally, this activity of hers of being on the phone. It is representative of the apathy, the nonchalance, the cavalier constitution in the climate of a very dire situation because you've been calloused by hanging out with a bunch of lethal assassins. She is exactly like Sophie from Kill Bill. And like Sophie, one day she's gonna go give Bill a message with her hand severed and told that she had a stupid hand or something, so it had to go. Anyway, enough about this woman. I'm done. Like, you know what? I'm so done. Like, I properly cannot wait to get myself out of this place. Like, I can't wait, and I will not look back. Sophie can keep all of her friends in the occult. Like, she properly can. Every man she's ever supported to think that he has a shot with me, every woman she has enabled to diss me, to tease me, to treat me like I am trash, every woman she has given an opportunity to gossip me and get away with it, every woman that has bewitched me and she has comforted them in their insanity like my cousins. It's like, Tatanu Sophie Wenu, let her go be your mom. Yeah, like let the day arrive when this woman has got you over there for a daughter, Lucy Lou. Hey, Oren Ishii. Yeah, let the day arrive when you that's just like casting spells on random strangers on the internet, or you who know me from the past and secretly stalk my content, acting like you're not even listening to me. Take my mom for yourselves. Like, literally go grab yourselves a mother that's gonna adore you because you're the exact same thing. And while you're busy chopping people's heads off, she's on her phone because she don't care about the blood being spilled in the room. Let's get back into this dream. This phone must not overheat, okay? Like, goodness, I don't even know, like, what to do anymore with these devices. I'm not in the mood of turning on the fan. There is no need. Like, it's cooler. It's 6 p.m. and I don't like the sound of the fan in the background, so I'm just gonna have to risk losing content. That's what's good. And I don't even have a backup on my iPhone at this point because closer to the end of the day, I don't want to mess with my iPhone because I use it to work out. I use it to record my dance videos, and so we don't want its battery low. We don't want any issues with it. We want it to be ready, pumped, good to go to help us to be stretched into the future. Let us talk now that Sophie's in the house, okay? Because I no longer have a distraction from the apathy and the nonchalance of a gliding mother in the presence of a daughter being murdered. Like, listen, okay? For years now, like properly ever since the beginning of this thing, I have been getting these like dreams, and the suggestions are so dumb to me that I don't talk about it much. It is a very large percentage, perhaps out of all of my kinds of dreams that I get. This would make up a good 30 to 35% of the dreams I get, so it's a lot of them. But I don't talk about them. Why? Because It's that stupid. But the reason why it must keep getting repeated is because likely it works. Because people in the occult, like stupid as they are in their foolery to follow after the devil, kind of do this foolery thing because they're deceived. And deception suggests that they have been made to see something that is shiny, ornate, kind of sparkles, has glitter on it, even though all that glitters is not gold. And so when they see shiny things because they cast a spell, they think it works. So they must be casting it because it has indeed shone before. It has glimmered before. It has produced some kind of emanating light before. And since they keep getting drawn to all things ostentatious and just showy in the room, they must be casting convert into gay or lesbian spells because they've worked. Goodness gracious. Who the heck grows up a whole hot-blooded heterosexual male or female and then just one day changes their minds? Y'all, you know what? Like, I'm like, yo, I apologize. Like, listen, I apologize. Oh, believe me, I do. This is a lie. It's a sham. You know, the power of suggestion on the planet, it's like, stop. Like, cease and desist. Put some brakes on it. Like, stop. But you won't anyway, so it's fine. Let God come grab the church so we can go home, Sodom. Look, like, I don't know, look, my man, I've been straight all my life, like, never an inkling of a desire for a female or even experimental desire. Nothing at all was I ever drawn to women in my life, and I never even wanted to experiment, because I didn't want to mess with the perfection of heterosexuality. It is properly perfect, okay? Yeah, so I've never been even touched by a desire in that regard. But I have been pursued before by these, like, oh guys, if you knew my stories, goodness gracious, wow, I just wish I wasn't so tired all the time every time I have to come and talk here, because I am so exhausted with chatting with people. It's like, whatever, it's like this one-way discussion where they act like they're not listening, meanwhile they know they're listening. Anyway, listen up, witches, nah, we're done with this nonsense of yours. Can you love the devil that much? What is up with you and all things anomalous? Do you not like it when things are ordinary? Just okay, like, really, Tuesday is like preceded by Monday, for crying out loud, and then Sundays before that. Why are you trying to make it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday? Come on, like, stop discombobulating stuff, because it's really messing with your earth. But whatever, keep this, like, discombobulated earth as much as you want. One day Christ is gonna fix it, but in the run up to, I'm just gonna help you understand what's been happening during these uneasy streets, okay? When I was like, perhaps, like, I don't know, 25 or whatever, I was dating my ex-boyfriend at the time. We were cohabiting, living together in like an apartment of sorts. Down the road from here, actually. The name of the complex was called Hercules. Yeah, just like the one in the 90 Professor. Or Who Put the Glad in Gladdy? Okay, no, we're not singing. It just makes my brain hurt these days. Yeah, Who Put the Glad in Gladiator? Hercules. Remember those cartoons? Wait and see! But anyway, whatever. We were actually living with Hercules, but there was nothing strong about that union, so I guess we shouldn't have lived in that complex. It was a strange little ambiguous title for a place to stay, given the weakness of that relationship. But it was there anyway. Thank you very much, Scooter, in the background, for that interruption. Anyway, and then one day we were like drinking it up a storm, you know, hanging out with my boyfriend and some friends, alright? And then one of these like boys came with like these two females, and we were like, oh, the more the merrier. So these chicks rock up. I am, of course, you know, the fat and set lady living with a guy outside of wedlock. So I'm the one here that's offering juice and pooza and like some pretzels. So I'm like, ladies, want some juice, pooza, and pretzels? And like, yeah, sure. And like, I'm Karabo, nice to meet you. And let's say their names respectively were Mpo and Mbali. And they're like, oh, I'm Mpo and I'm Mbali. And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. A gift and flower. Fine. So the intros happened. These two females done rocked up with a dude to the home of a stay-in couple. Heterosexual. They live together. So it means that they are together in such relations as those. Need I say more? You didn't meet me at the club, girl. You didn't meet me at the mall. Nah. You did not happen upon us at the park, sister girl. You came to our home. You came to my house where I live with my boyfriend. What are you doing? I was gonna say 2023, but that was not 2023. That was 2000 and something. Guys, I was 25. You do the math. Oh, goodness gracious. Here are these people visiting a cohabiting couple that is heterosexual. And they come with the friend of my boyfriend. And I'm thinking these chicks are good people. They're so friendly. They're so fresh. You know how black girls can give you so much attitude? None of that. None of that at all. Apparently, allegedly, it's a gift for lesbians. They're the one, single batch of female people that aren't mean to fellow females because I guess they're crushing on them. They don't pass women shade. Like typical girl beef, I guess, doesn't exist in Lesbos. So, happened with those two females. Didn't know they were lesbian, however. When they rocked up all up in the environment, I thought that this Okie that rocked up, that they dated one of them was dating him or something. So, I ain't trying to question whatever. So, my ex-boyfriend then, or at the time he was still the boyfriend, I guess so. Let's give them the title. My boyfriend, goes on right ahead to make a trip. Like him and his boy go to buy, I think, extra alcohol. Yeah, we were running out of alcohol. You know how that happens like all the time amidst drunk hearts? They drink it all, and next thing everybody has to go and buy more. My boyfriend goes to go and purchase Mopuza with his boy. So now the man is gone. Mind you, there was like a whole, okay, let me just describe what happened the night before. Okay, so we were like, this just a party storm, drinking it up like whatever, and at this point it's like the next day or something and we're still drunk. And so we just figured, let's invite more people and take out the babalas with more alcohol. So essentially a woman never got to get sober. That's what I'm trying to explain. This food is so hot, it's freaking me out, and I don't want to turn on no fan. Anyway, let me save the content up to now. Shall I? Or should I continue to speak up until I get to 10 minutes and then next thing this thing overheats and I'm all sad, like, and just devastated and like broken? I figured that I'm gonna record a backup on my iPhone because I really don't want to lose content and have to repeat myself. So we're just gonna keep doing this and hope that the content here does not disappear. Then if I have a backup, at least, we're good. Even though it's on the side where my acne is just drunk, like the suggestion that I would one day become a lesbian. Anyway, yeah, so herein lies the story. I'm still telling it. It's just so exhausting. It makes me want to yawn, but I don't want to yawn because it might just evidence that I'm suffering spiritual attack, and witches are like, we're winning, so we're not gonna yawn. Anyway, these chickies, right? Remember, we're still drunk from the night before. Other friends have gone home to sleep, and we're still out here tottering around in the house. Since it's our house, we can sleep at any time. My man invites his boy. His boy comes with these two chicks. And then they decide to go and buy more alcohol, and I'm left with these two females. And I'm thinking, I'm safe. We ended up sitting in the back, like in the garden joint at the back there. A place I'd never even gone before because it was just so bushy and scary, and I thought that stuff was going to come out of the grass. So I never ever chilled back there until this particular day. So I guess we enter into uncharted territory in all regards, including sitting in the garden and being introduced into lesbianism. Anyway, what an eventful day that was. I'm sitting with these chicks and we talking, and one chick then, like the Mbali then goes on to say to me, to explain to me where she lives, right? So where she grew up. She then says that she grew up in Rockville. Like, oh, you lived in Rockville, then you must know 123, because I had a guy that I used to date. My ex-boyfriend used to live in Lakeview, which is not very far from Rockville, and that whole scheme of people that side. So I was like, oh, do you know let me give him a name. Jabu. Let's say his name was Jabu. I was like, do you know Jabu? Spanban, and I used Jabu's like nickname, And she's like, yeah, oh, shame. And so I was like, yeah, I know. He had passed away, right? So Jabu had died. He passed away in a car accident some years prior to that date. Not years, actually. It was just like a year since he had passed away type thing. I was like, yeah, that was really sad that he passed away. Types it up. Oh, okay, so you know that whole crew, that whole scheme and whatnot. So that's how, like, she got comfortable with me. That's how the two of them decided that they're going to get comfortable with me, because now all of a sudden the awkwardness of talking with strangers that you don't know was out of the room, because we had so much to relate with, given that we could, both talk about things that happened back in the day. Even though we did not cross paths back in the day, we could talk a lot about what happened back in the day. And they knew my ex-boyfriend and all the lifestyling that we did back when we were all together. I dated this guy when I was like 17 to pretty like 18 and a half, 19. So at this stage I'm 25, right? So it's quite a reminiscent discussion, this, right? So now all of a sudden there's no more awkwardness. We're talking full conversation with no pauses in the middle, no exclamation marks, proper no punctuation at all, just rapping, and we start to laugh and everything gets nice and easier. The alcohol that is there is now juicing everybody's bones, even though it's running dry, since the guys are out on an errand, the guys of which are out on an errand because that's what guys do. They run on errands to get alcohol and leave the women behind, like a typical Stepford situation. So ain't nobody expecting no bombs to be thrown here to join some orgy with some females. Hey guys, I was gonna say 2023, but that wasn't 2023. That was way then. But something, it was the last days already. Anyway, yes, it's sort of. Yo, Bandla, have mercy. You know, when you legalize gay marriage in a country, you make such conversations possible at parties. You know, ain't nobody gonna be looking at you like you was a taboo. You're not gonna be having no po-po called on you. You're not gonna get anybody trying to report you to some figures of authority for stepping out of line. Cause how dare you say that to me? If we were in Uganda, those girls would not have had that bravado. So frankly, I blame the South African government for giving those chicks that level of freaking audacity. Anyway, herein lies these audacious females from Rockville. One of them was from Rockville. Getting all comfortable with me, we're laughing, okay, and drunk. And then next thing, like, she just like literally out a bat out of hell pulls a trick out of her magician's hat and decides to ask me if I'm happy with my boyfriend. God have mercy. I wasn't saved, but goodness, I needed the mercy of the Most High at that particular moment. I'm drunk, my faculties are not intact, my inhibitions are loose, so essentially I am at my most vulnerable point. And even at this inebriated place, I still never felt like I could ever be recruited into lesbianism. Like, it still hit a horrible nail in a horrible coffin I was not trying to open. Nonetheless, these brave females that just should go and move to Uganda and be handled decided to throw this fast one in mad girl. Are you happy with your man? And yes, I was expecting maybe this chick to be like, cause you know, I like you from my brother or something, like trying to, like, she likes me so much she thinks maybe I could be scorned. Like, why would you ask a woman, are you happy with your man? As a woman, I've been asked that before by guys. I have. Hey girl, you pretty, thank you. Do you have a boyfriend? Yeah, are you happy? Yeah, I've had that a lot. I've had that question a lot from guys. I get it. But women, when women ask you if you're happy with a man, you don't automatically, if you're a heterosexual, imagine she's trying to holler at you. You think this chick wants to break me up with my boyfriend so I can be with her brother or her cousin. Because she thinks my boyfriend is just like, she must take me home to her brother. That's the only time I've ever been asked if I'm happy with a man by a female. It was when she wanted me for her brother or cousin or something. Stuff like that. Yeah. Hey, dangerous territory. I'm in a garden I've never been in, even though I live on the property. And now I'm being asked things that I've never been asked before. This was a day of new beginnings, apparently, for me. So my man is out on a trip. Their man is out on a trip. The man of which I still don't know to this day which of those two chicks he was with, because ain't no dude traveling around with two females without dating one of them, okay? Or both of them, but that was before the time of all this, like, sexual immorality of orgies. But anyway, whatever, okay? Guys, this chick asks me if I'm happy with my boyfriend, and then I'm like, we're cool. Like, you're at my apartment, I'm living with my man, we were just laughing with each other, you found us really dudes, like, I'm like, leave me, what's going on, where's this question going? So I'm like, I'm cool. Like, I just said I'm cool. Are you happy with your man? I'm cool. We had issues, but I was not about to go and play Dr. Phil on a couch with these new females, like, proper. If I want to cry me a river about my man's stunts, I'll go to my best friend. Like, who are these two females from Rockville? Like, relax. Just because you know my ex doesn't mean you're Dr. Phil, okay? So herein lies the Dr. Phil, like, female version or Oprah asking me all these questions. I'm like, I'm cool. And then that's when they just went rogue on me. Yazzie, like, this is the kind of stuff that ain't nobody even trying to laugh about it when they talk. Like, you know, sometimes you make jokes out of stuff that's just too freaking serious to be making jokes about. Like, stop. Now these chicks go on right ahead to, like, get deep into the matter. And they're like, well, we can, oh goodness, first, the Mbali's the one that asks, are you happy? And then I'm like, I'm cool. And then, Mpo is like, well, we can show you a few other things. Yo, guys, that's 2023, it might as well be. Even though that was like, what, 2018? I don't know. When I was 25. Yeah, that's what's good. Yeah, whatever the year was, y'all. It was somewhere when I was 25. Do the math. I was born in 1984. I'm not about to go and crack my brain to understand what year it was, but it was back then, okay? Yeah, no, these little buffooneries. The umpo is like, we can show you some extra new things. We can show you things. So what I believe might have happened there is that the guy that came with them was, maybe he had a fetish about lesbians, because I mean, like, what guy picks up 2 chicks in Jafela that he's gonna drop off later? Usually one is his girl, or there's a strange little threesome going on there. You don't just like rock. So maybe that dude had like I said, a fetish with people like that, chicks like those, because that's always been a thing, right? Guys are very experimental. Nonetheless, let me save this thing, overheating phone. So Mbali starts to ask me, right? Not Mbali's the one that asks me if I'm happy with my man, and then Umpo is the one that's like, we can show you some things. And after which, I then I was like, whoa, show me things? And that's when then they literally just went into some incredible scary detail, to a point of causing me so much discomfort. Like, they described all the things that they would do to me, and how they would outdo my boyfriend in all the feats and theatrics that he can ever pull out of his hat. They can do one up on him better. And I was just sitting there. I didn't want to be offensive. I did not want to be what do they call it, homophobic? Yeah, I didn't want to sound homophobic or whatever. I didn't want to reject them off the bat, do you understand? And until they felt like I basically was like kicking them out of my house. But I was literally clutching, squeezing every squeezable thing in my body to not have the reaction on my face show as accurately as I was feeling inside. I tried to keep my cool so as to not offend, because yeah, well, I was still lost in the world, and I was not as candid as I am today about my beliefs. If I was saved, I wouldn't even be in that relationship, or at least in the capacity that I was in that relationship, adult cohabiting and fornicating. So I could not really put my foot down using like religious text or whatever to explain what's going on over there. All I could say to them was, I'm straight, you know, yeah, I'm not really into chicks like that type thing. But guys, it didn't matter how many times I said it with like this like smile on my face to try not to offend them. It's like when I was smiling or trying to keep it on the DL that I feel like this conversation should come to an end. The fact that I was trying to be on the DL and not offending them just made them believe that they can just keep pushing for this, that they can just keep pushing for it, because I wasn't firm and adamant in a way that shut them up already. I was coddling them out of the conversation instead of just bluntly and abruptly stopping it. I guess that's the misfortune of many people in the world today when they don't want to offend people, members of the colorful community. They can never stop conversations when conversations must be stopped in a way that must be stopped. These conversations must be stopped. Otherwise they get like labeled homophobic, and since they're trying to take over even politics, you might just find yourself cancelled for simply just being like, I'm sorry, but I'm straight. Like, in a way that is like, stop pushing for it already. Like, just stop. Oh, guys, my boyfriend and the friend could not come back fast enough. The whole time I was hanging out with these chicks alone, the entire time, the entire tenure, okay, while my ex and them were gone, they were just pushing for this. And like I said, the detail they got into, like as in pornographic detail that they got into as to what they would do. It's like they were trying to seduce me. They were trying to get me to feel sexually aroused enough to imagine this as a feasibility, to a point where I would then give them my number and be like, okay, maybe we can experiment with this. Guys, Yazzie, First of all, at that stage, and pretty much all throughout the relationship, then let me not even say at that stage, I never cheated on my ex, not even once. And neither did the thought ever come into my mind, because I'm a woman, and you don't just allow yourself to get slam dunked into by any random man, because it's like literally the standards are different for women, and I did not want to be that girl, you know what I mean? No matter how frustrated I was with him, I never would have cheated. So it would have been one thing if all those morals of mine were a little bit looser, where I cheated on him with a man. But these women were asking me, like they were literally pleading with me, begging by giving me all different kinds of graphic imagery in my mind to cheat on him with them. Yes, like it. Yes, I was so uncomfortable until finally we heard, you know, the burglar proofing sliding door from the other side open, and my boyfriend was back. And then these chicks were like, by puta, they you know, they fixed themselves so as to not continue with the conversation, because now they were my boyfriend was back, and you know, it would be just disrespectful to talk about that with him in the room type thing. Yeah, so I was just kind of haunted by this and stranded with it, and you know, it was so tactless to me and so taboo. Like I said, they were actively trying to sexually arouse me by putting pornographic imagery in my mind, by describing what they would do to me, but it did nothing to me. More than anything, I was really quite disgusted. I couldn't understand why they wouldn't let it go, why they wouldn't just leave me alone concerning this particular thing. So just the fact that I was unseducible, but rather found it disgusting, is yet more evidence that when people go rogue and tarry from God, you can't speak sense into their brains. You cannot correct them as to what the status quo is, because when a culture is pushing a particular wickedness properly, people believe that all it would take is a little conversation to change people's minds. And apparently it works. It must work. That's why I'm not really sure if this stuff works for witches, because for me it is so severely out of what I would ever do that I feel like it's a useless conversation at all for anybody to even embark on with me. But the fact that they're still having this conversation must mean that there are successful converts. That there are successful converts that change their minds somewhere along the way. Like, you are a whole heterosexual, hot-blooded female in high school, and you've never had a crush on a girl. All that you've ever felt towards females is jealousy. And then one day you're like making out with a woman. How do you just develop feelings for like, how do you just bring that out of nowhere? Like, your God, you create something out of nothing, ex nihilo? It's just, it must be a demon. It must be a demon. It must be something that comes into you that makes you desire that which you never originally wanted. It can account for instance, Mr. Beast's assistant that decided to go and become a trans male, leave his wife, and child, and go and transition. Stuff like that. I mean, this is a man that was a particular way, very clearly so, and then he just changed. Something that, how do you, like, you cannot create something out of nothing. No one has power to do that except God. So that desire, when it gets brewed in the heart of a man or a woman, it must be a demon. It absolutely has got to be a demon. Something extra, like a plug into video editing software, where before you could not remove background, now you can because you purchased the plugin properly. When a person suddenly goes from full-on heterosexual to experimental, bisexual, and maybe even full-on lesbian, like what happened with Latoya Machene in this country, honey, that is a plugin. That is your purchase. Human segmentation inside video editing software that never used to be there before. You could have totally absent of the software actually plugging it in, it would not have been able to operate within that functionality until you bought the plugin, until you bought the extra. So it must be a demon. It must be something that you agree to that then gives you desires you never used to have. So I guess alter ego vibes. These women were trying to seduce a plugin I had not bought. They were trying to, speak to something inside me to bring it out, but it was never there. It was never there. I never opened a door of any sort, and so they were just speaking into dead air. Like this assistant, one Mr. Beast, it is speculated by many people that what happened with him was that he watched something called sissy porn. Apparently there is a kind of pornography in XXX sites that gives men a desire to transition from being male to, and it hypnotizes the living daylights out of them until they think that they're entirely women and they need to go and have their manhood chopped off and then take all different kinds of hormones to transition over to being women. Type establishment thing. So, I mean, the trigger in this particular instance is sissy porn. The thing that opens the corridor for you to suddenly be spoken to you in your spirit to embrace that which your body originally was not interested in, right? So you are not interested in girls as a girl. And then you watch so much lesbian porn on not Netflix, sorry, but what is this? On a XXX site. And then all of a sudden it just became acceptable to you. All of a sudden it was like grabbable by you. And so next time a girl flirts with you in a club, now you are flattered instead of just kind of like, no thank you. You know, you don't even have to be turned off. Just be like, no thanks. No need to slap them away like they're the scum of the earth. Just say no thanks and you let it go. That's how it used to be with lesbians back in the day, by the way, where if they would holler at you and you're not interested, they just leave you alone. And so far as you were cordial in letting them know that you're not interested, but these days they just keep bantering it down. They keep trying because society has so trained them, like something has happened, as there has been a flip or of a switch in the cosmos that has trained them to believe that it is possible to change a person, convert a person, because clearly there must have been enough converts out here to gaze upon for them to be like, it works. So when somebody is given a dummy, fed a pacifier to believe that something works, they will keep trying and trying, even on people that have not opened themselves up like a canyon, a grave, a yawning one of demonic spirits. Someone that has not opened that particular back door for demons to enter in. They will hassle these people to a point where now Karabo will end up looking like a violent homophobe, ready to go and slap some people for not leaving her alone, because I have not opened a door for that, to a point where it would just suddenly just be appealing to me to even humor the idea. These women had obviously, like Umbali, no Mpo. Mbali and Mpo. The only thing that can account for why they were so pushy must be because they had experimented before with the stuff. The experimentation then opened a door. The door of which then made suggestion in this regard, more and more of it, worthwhile. It made pornographic imagery actually arousing. And so they were like, I've never really felt this way about a girl before. I guess now it's there. Because of that observation of an ability for a person to turn over. It then got, grafted into all manner and kinds of lewd practices in the occult to see if they can't come up with a spell that might encourage a person to open that door. That they might be transferable into lesbianism. It's about time I talked about this. I've been ignoring it because I'm that unmoved by this particular curse, because I'm uncursable. And it's dumb to me to even recommend that I would ever go out like that, but apparently, allegedly, it works so well that they just can't stop sending me the spells. I told you, like about 35% of all of my dreams are this suggestion. And however, I don't talk about it. I'm always talking about the idiot men that are casting a whole bunch of spells all up in my grill, trying to force me ka korobela. Because that's what has potential to afflict me, because I've always been a heterosexual female. I have a history of fornication, so I know what it's like to get down and dirty, and so therefore the temptation will always be there in that particular regard. It is a door that I opened that I have to guard very carefully, like no man's business, to make sure that nothing filthy enters now that I'm in Christ. It is something I have to brittle. It is something that my flesh struggles with, indeed, and so by the Spirit I have to put to death that particular deed of the body. So fornication with men is definitely a temptation for me, because I come from the history and I am a heterosexual female. But when then I get like lamb-basted with the prospect of fornication with women, it's like, I'm sorry guys, it's never been a thing, and it never will be. It is not a temptation. I don't even have to flee from it. It's just an outright blasphemous recommendation that annoys the creepy crap out of me, but nonetheless that I have to keep seeing every single time. And when I see it, I'm disgusted, and so much is it so unafflicting to me in any true sense of the word that I don't even talk about it. I don't even raise it. So there was the thing with those lesbians back in the day. Those two, after they left, guys, I was so embarrassed and ashamed. I felt so dirty, even though I'd done nothing with them. I could feel the presence of demons, but only in retrospect now do I sense that that's what was going on, because I didn't know demonic war at the time. I didn't understand spiritual war at the time, and that what I was feeling was demonic oppression in the room. But it was also exacerbated by the alcohol, the drunkenness, that was happening around all over the show. But I felt so humiliated and scarred by that visit, by that communication, by that demonic seduction. I was being serenaded by entities through these women, and the music was chaotic in my ear. It was cantankerous. It was not soothing or lulling to sleep, but nonetheless I felt afflicted by it. Just the recommendation, the presence of that demonic energy, it harassed me, violated my spirit, and I didn't understand what it was because I wasn't saved. Neither did I know the way to fight it, okay? To a point where I didn't even tell my boyfriend. My ex and I used to talk about everything, but I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him that these girls seduced me when you were gone. I kept it a total secret. Like, if you were to listen to this video, he'd be like, whoa, never thought that happened. Type establishment thing. I didn't tell him. I just felt dirty by myself, even though I did nothing. I could not believe that those women did that. Never saw them again. Thankfully, they were not close, tight friends of the guy. The guy that they came with was my man's friend, and he never changed about banyana. He used to just change girls like he changes his jeans. So I never saw those women ever again. But what they did to me left a mark and a stain. I never told my ex-boyfriend, but I did tell my cousin. I was like, hey, Batung, there was a recruitment drive for me to join lesbianism the other day. She laughed it off, and because my cousin, like, you know, because she laughed her buttock off, I then, you know, sort of kind of saw the light-hearted side of it, and I calmed down. I chilled. I imagined it was not that deep, but I was so like troubled by it. I was so troubled by it that it lingered until my cousin brushed it off like it was nothing much by laughing. Yeah, see, guys, that was the first time I was so coercively recruited into lesbian experimentation. But when I was in high school, these two friends of mine kissed in the bathroom after Truth and Dare. It was a bet, right? And we were like, I bet you would never kiss a girl. And they went in the bathroom and kissed. And it just, when I looked at them doing that, right, something in my spirit was just like, it screamed. It's like it was all a joke until it happened. Because I've always been so plugged into the spirit without even being born again that it is no wonder I got saved. Like, I was inevitably going to choose Christ. I was just inevitably going to choose Christ. Indeed, the Bible says that the Father is the one that draws us to the Son. So I was being drawn to Christ from the moment I came out of my mother's womb by basically going through experiences in life that a lot of people just kind of glide right by, but with me, it never glided by me. It just felt it felt wrong. Even though I didn't understand what in the world was that deep communication. Where was it coming from? I now know, I have found out, I have learned, I've discovered that we war not against flesh and blood. These things are spiritual. Very, very incredibly well. Then, so these friends of mine kissing in the bathroom, that triggered something in me, and it made me decide right there and then. I could have been like 15 or 16. We could have all been like 15 or 16. I knew right there and then when I saw my friends making out in the bathroom, my two female friends kissing in the bathroom, that I would never do that. I literally told myself that things come to a point where in playing truth or dare, I am dared to kiss a friend, I would choose truth and literally spill the beans of something deep and nefarious rather than kiss, because something told me in that instance when I was watching my girls kissing in the bathroom, something told me that it's opening something, it's making them susceptible to becoming lesbian. I knew that I did not want to be lesbian, neither experiment. Already at that stage back then, South Africa was already pretty loose concerning lesbianism. It has never, all throughout my particular lifetime, been a taboo to be gay in my country. It's never been a taboo. It's never been teased, dissed, none of that. There was never a guy that was gay in my school that was mistreated because he was gay. It's just always been very embraced, the lesbian or the gay thing in my country. The only discrimination that I can say I picked up when I was a child growing up was them being called the Juzana and and so they did not like that terminology. But beyond that, really, I've never seen too much homophobia in South Africa. I've never seen it. Okay, so I was not coming from a vantage point where I was scared of turning lesbian because of the country I live in. It never got there because South Africa's always been that loose. I could have chosen it and been safe in the country. Do you understand what I'm saying? But something inside me knew that I did not want to be affiliated to that. I did not want to be confused that way. That I did not want to be considerate of that lifestyle ever. That I'm happy. I knew that I was happy being straight and that I never want to be turned. And when my friends were kissing, something in me said this could turn people. I wasn't sure, but it felt in my spirit like this could be something that can cause these two girls to go from being completely straight, which they all were. I've never had a single lesbian friend in my life, right? Go from being experimental, bisexual, or even full-on lesbian. I knew that thing was a trigger. And so I told myself that no matter what happens, I'm never gonna kiss a girl and then like it. I just made that decision right there and then. And well, I mean, I never really had to employ my own promise that I made to myself until that day. Until the day, years later, when at 25, when I was living fat and sitting with my boyfriend, when two girls would visit us in our apartment and seduce me with my man not being there. It came, and I felt so grossed out, demonically afflicted, and embarrassed enough to not even tell my boyfriend. Okay, that's what happened when I was in high school. Then fast forward multiple years down the line, and I'm still working, right? MTN, I'm Christian, and life sucks like no man's business. I've lost my job, everything is falling apart.